Thank you. And see, and first, before I would like to give a brief introduction about the tense. And already we discussed in session number 62 about present tenses. And see, if we want to express about whatever action we do in our day-to-day life, some actions belong to present time, and some actions belong to past time, and some actions belong to future time. So, and whatever actions we do or whatever actions we face or we involve or we indulge in those actions, so those all actions might come under any one of the tense. See, we know all present actions we put under present time or present tense, whereas at the same way all past actions or completed actions, which actions already happened, so these actions we put under past tense. So being as a teachers or English aspirants or learners or ambience of English, we know every basic tense, present tense, past tense and future tense, every basic tense furtherly divided into 4. And I'd like to explain or give a small tip. See, many students or many learners, they get confused. While they announcing or while they are repeating or telling to someone. If the student asks the question from the teacher or by the teacher, I give the 12 names of the tenses, and the students may confuse, or the students, they tell the tense names in this order. So, and as we know, 3 basic tenses are there, and every basic tense furtherly divided into 4. The subs are simple or indefinite, continuous or progressive, perfect or perfect progressive. See, if we add these 4 subparts to each basic tense, and we can easily remember. So for example, present simple, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Similarly, the present basic tense over, and if we take past tense, past simple, past continuous, past perfect continuous. So 4 plus 4, 8 already come. So, and finally, the future tense is the last and 3rd basic tense. And again, if we add these 4 subtense to the 3rd basic tense, future simple, future continuous, future perfect continuous. So 4 plus 4 plus 4, totally 12 tenses we have. So if we explain the student in this way, every student can remember in easy way. Yes, if we explain in this way to the students, so the students can remember in easy way, and they won't make mistake whenever we ask the students or whenever we ask the learners to keep those 12 tenses in appropriate order. So it's a small tip. And see, and whereas if you talk about past tense, and under this past tense also we have 4 subparts, subheads. The first one is simple past, and past progressive or past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous. See here, and while we concentrating or while we learning tenses, we want to concentrate on 2 important things. The first thing is we want to learn, or we want to remember, or we want to practice the tense structures. That is the first thing. And the second thing, each tense usage is very important. If we have proper idea about those tense structures and usages, and then we can easily frame our own sentences, and also we can easily apply these knowledge in our day-to-day life. So, and the first, if you want to talk about simple past, and what is the structure of simple past, and when we have to use, in how many ways we have to use in simple present tense, generally when we use simple past. See, for example, and we know a simple past structure: subject, verb second form, and other words, or sometimes we call that structure, or instead of other words, object. See, subject, verb second form, past form of the verb V2, and other words. See, and this is very simple. See, sometimes if we don't know and verb forms, and we know five forms of verbs we have: V1 present tense, V2 past tense, V3 past participle, V4 present progressive or present participle, V5 yes form of the verb. And we may call V1 and V5 with other names. V1 we call as past form of the verb, V5 we may call as singular form of the verb, because we use when the in present tense, if the third person singular subject we use, in that particular case only S form of the verb comes. That is why we may call that V5 form as a singular form of the verb. And whereas why we have to call V1 as plural form, because always it comes and after whether the subject is not singular in present tense, and this V1 comes always after the subject, not just in that case. See, and if we talk about, we know and structure of the simple past and situations when we use, and the first thing is actions completed in the past. All completed actions we use. For all completed actions we use simple past. And the second usage is, and we know, and with the help of used to, we can express our past habitual actions. But with the help of with the use of simple past too, we can express the past habits. For example, if we take this first usage, or use simple past for completed actions, and while we're using the simple past, we have to add at the end of the sentence and adverb of the time. It's most important while we're using simple past. For example, yesterday, ago, last night, last year, 2 months back, last week, so like that. These kind of and adverbs of time phrase we have to use at the end of the sentence while we're using simple past. For example, we started Share Every in 2020. See here, in 2020, and we started our Share Every. Here, we is the subject, started is the V2, and other words, and we may treat, and every sentence may have two parts. Number one is subject and the predicate, and other than the subject, the rest of the entire sentence we may treat as predicate. We know that. See here, in 2020, see here, we mentioned there time, adverb of the time in the simple past. Uncle left to Delhi last week. My uncle left to Delhi. My uncle subject left is V2 to Delhi last week. Here, last week is the adverb of the time. And if you take one or two examples for past actions, past habits, and we know, and by using used to, I used to smoke when I was boy, when I was kid, and I used to watch movies and when I was a student. But it means, and we did, or we had that habit in the past, but not now. In that case only, we want to express with the help of used to. But whereas, and in simple past, we may express the same past habitual actions, and we won't express and whether we are doing now or only in the past. But simply we may use, he ate too much all the parties. So it means, and whenever he attended in the parties, and he always put the concentration on eating the things. So, and he had such kind of hobby in the past. But here we need not to mention the time adverbs. So that is important. I played cricket very often. We played cricket very often. Yes. So, and that hobby I had when I was boy, but I am not here when I had that habit. So I am not mentioning here. So in these two cases, we may use the simple past and to express completed actions with the time, adding time adverb, and past habitual actions also we can express in the simple past. So that is about simple past. And the past continuous. or past progressive. We know, and the structure of subject and was or were plus present participle plus other verbs, other words. See here, and we know, and when we have to use was in past continuous, and when we need to use were after singular subjects, and we have to use was after plural subject, we need to use were. Yes, see, and the situation or usage of past progressive tense or past continuous tense. What was happening at the time of particular moment, past moment. See, and we know, if we have appropriate idea about 4 kinds of present tense, the same rules and regulations we have to apply to 4 past tenses or to 4 future tenses. But we need to have appropriate or without any confusion, if we have proper idea about 4 present tenses, the same. See, for example, when we use past present continuous, if any action is taking place at the time of speaking in present time, we use present continuous, and the structure also we know, subject is, am, are plus verb 4th form plus other words. So the same way, same. There is, am, or are there. In past continuous, was, were are there. After singular subject, we use was. After plural subject, we use be form were. And there, verb 4th form in present participle, here also same. So, and the situation is what in present continuous, if any action is taking place. See, for example, now I am teaching, I am explaining, you are listening. See, while you are listening, the action is going on. So I am teaching here. So, and this action is going on at present time of speaking. So that is why we use present continuous. But the same way, similarly, the same rules and regulations. At the same time, if I was conducting the meeting at the same time yesterday, so then how I may change from present continuous into past continuous? I was teaching, or I was taking the class at the same time yesterday evening. Yes, see here, and if the action was taking place at a particular time of past time, in that case, we have to use past continuous tense. I came from very poor family, very needy family. So I didn't have good sources when I was a school, when I was a student in my school. And in that case, and my friend was helping me and whenever I need. So we were writing a letter, or we were writing a drama, or we were preparing material for Share Every program yesterday. Yes, so, and because, and if the action taking place at the time of particular time in the past, in that case, we have to use past continuous. And the third one is past perfect. Past perfect. And here we may get confused between simple past and past perfect. At the end of the session, or before closing my board presentation, I'll explain the combinations to very brief. And see here, past perfect. And here, see the difference between simple past and past perfect. The most important thing is, in past perfect, we don't use any adverbs of time. We directly use if the action took place long back. If the action took place long back, means 1 year back, 2 years back, when we see, but in simple past, not like that. See, even though if happened in the long past, we add time adverb there, but here we won't do that. We don't do that. See, for example, talk about long past actions and situations in the past, and we have to use for which actions took place in the last, very long past, and we use this past perfect tense, and we know the structure of this, and subject had plus past participle form of the verb and other words. See, and last year we had car, but that car we sold to someone. We had sold our old car, okay, and we bought a new car. See, there I didn't mention anything. I haven't mentioned anything. So I just and I expressed what I made in 2 years back or 1 year back. See, if I want to tell the same thing with the adding time adverb, so I want to use simple past. And I sold my old car last year. Or if I want to use the same sense, or if I want to use with the same example with the help of a past perfect, I had sold our old car, but I am not using anything here adverb of time, last year, last week, or 3 years back, or 1 decade back, like that. See, in simple past, we have to add, for example, so that is why always we use I was born in 1980, not I had born in 1980. I was born in 1980. And one more important thing, and always, whether it's a present tense or past tense or future action, and there is no another form of the verb for born. Yes, so born, no, born. Yes, next, and this is past perfect, and the past perfect progressive or past perfect continuous. See, and we know the structure of that, and subject had been plus present participle plus other words. So this is the structure, and the usage is an action started and completed. See, and already we know in about present perfect continuous tense. If the action started some time back, the same action is, if the same action is in progress, and we use an present perfect continuous tense. In the same way, and past perfect continuous tense, the action started in the past, and that same started action also completed in the past after some time. In that case, we have to use this present perfect. We had been singing all the day. Yes, and we know, and it's very simple to remember or to explain, but here, and the important thing is here, and if I want to, I would like to make very clear. See, and present perfect, simple past, past perfect. Once again, present perfect, simple past, and past perfect. These three tenses we use for finished actions or completed actions, but the usage and the context is not the same. Even though we use these three tenses for finished actions, but the usage is very different. See, many people, they get confused while they're using present perfect, past simple, and past perfect. These three tenses we use for finished or completed actions only, but there is a slight difference while we using the situations, while we taking the situations. And when we use, even though if the action happened in the past, and we use present perfect for only just finished actions. For example, if I am teaching in the class, I have written something on the board. I want to ask my student and whether they take it down or not. See how I want to ask, did you write? It's absolutely wrong. Because, and how much time before I have given the work? Just few minutes back. So after giving some minutes or some seconds or 1 or 2 minutes, I'm asking the students like this, have you take it down, which I have written on the board? So in that case, we have to use present perfect. See, for example, in the same case, if you take the same example, see, I given the homework or assignment yesterday, but the next day the students enter into my class. There I want to ask about my yesterday's assignment. In that case, I want to ask, my dear students, did you finish my assignment which I gave yesterday? Because there is the gap, 1 day gap, 24 hours gap. But when I asked the same question, when I was in front of the board the previous day, and I given just few minutes, but I have asked like this, have you written? Have you completed? Have you learned? Yes. Have you understood? Yes. See, for example, and during the class, I put one order to all my students. Open all your books. Do open page number 45. See, some students they open and some students not yet. See, I want to ask whether all they opened or not. So which tense I have to use? I want to use present perfect, even though if it is past action, because, and I'm asking here after giving very less time. See, after 1 or 2 minutes time, I'm asking here, hey, have you opened your books all? Have you opened your books at page number 45? Yes. So, and this, in these two cases, we haven't get any confused. Already I mentioned past simple and past perfect. If we want to use past simple, and we have to add time adverb in the past tense, and whereas while we using past perfect, we need not to add time adverb. But and when we compare between these two tenses, simple past and past perfect, and past perfect for past perfect tense, we take and not that much long back happened situations. But here in past perfect, we use past perfect tense for and which actions took place very long back. So this is about past, the difference among present perfect, past simple past, and past perfect. Yes.